What is going on, world? What's up, YouTube? It's Zero here. Today I'm bringing you guys a brand new episode of the 8 Below Show. Welcome everyone to 8 Below, the best gaming related show here on planet Earth. And with that being said, everyone, we have a lot of stuff we want to talk about in this episode of the show, so let's get into it. Far Cry Primal is a really interesting, addition to the overarching franchise that is Far Cry. And I want to talk about, will there ever be a Far Cry Primal 2? Let's talk about it. So guys, this is a game that I thought was really fascinating in a number of ways, and I think it really plays a pivotal and awesome role in all of, Far Cry as a whole. And this being somewhat of a sub-story to the main storyline of Far Cry reminds, obviously, it's going to be down the same line as New Dawn, which I thought Primal was way better than New Dawn when that game released. But that being said, Primal had some really interesting elements, some really interesting gameplay, and obviously from a graphical perspective and all of those things, I really feel that they could go somewhere with another Far Cry Primal title. Will that happen though? Most likely not, guys, because it seems like you've got your main storyline entries, which obviously the next one being Far Cry 7, unless they decide to make it called something else. I would say it's probably going to be called Far Cry 7. And then will they make another, branch off from that or another sub storyline to Far Cry 7? I think it's definitely very possible. Would it be called Far Cry Primal 2? Most likely not. It would probably be called something completely different, something that's, totally aside from, the other entries in the Far Cry universe. It would probably be a side story or a spin-off from Far Cry 7. We saw this with Far Cry New Dawn, obviously, with Far Cry 5. New Dawn was that spin-off of Far Cry 5, and I think that it's reasonable to expect that they're probably going to continue those things and probably in the form after Far Cry 7, creating something that's going to be a spin-off from that. And would it be Primal 2? Most likely not. I would love to see it. I think that they had something going here, and there were multiple endings there. I think that they have something that could be special, but most likely Primal 2 is most likely not going to happen. I know a lot of people in the community have talked about, hey, would they ever make a Primal 2? Would they ever make another New Dawn? Would those things be possible? Anything's possible, guys, but I feel that they would just make a completely new spin-off altogether to Far Cry 7. And really, at the end of the day, I'm totally okay with it. I just want to see a Far Cry 7. That's my main thing. I want to see the main storyline entries. The spin-offs are awesome in their own way, but I think that having, obviously, those main entries, having Ubisoft knock those out of the park, and then having these spin-offs are just icing on the cake. They're those additions that creates the legacy, the lore, the story that is Far Cry as a whole. And so could they do this with a Primal 2? You can never say never, but most likely not. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts about this, though, in the comment section down below. Do you think they would ever make a Far Cry Primal 2? It's a real question, guys, and I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts about it in the comment section down below. And for more Far Cry content and videos, keep it here with zrotv. A title a lot of people in the community would love to see is a continuation of LA Noire in the form of an LA Noire 2. This is something, guys, that's really fascinating to me because I've always wondered, would there be a continuation of this game? And obviously it did really well when it was released to the world, and a lot of people would love to see a continuation here. So I want to talk about, where is LA Noire 2? Is this a game that ever could happen, and could it ever come to the fray? Let's talk about it. So guys, in an article coming to us from Martin Wood of Game Rant, it seems that Rockstar Games is going to have its hands full for the foreseeable future as it constantly dodges questions about a hugely anticipated Grand Theft Auto 6 and the future for Red Dead Redemption 3, which leaves a long overdue sequel in LA Noire 2 still stuck in the cold. For a series that performed admirably alongside its sibling franchises, it's astonishing that LA Noire hasn't yet received a follow-up despite being ported to several platforms following its release with sideline adaptations to VR. Traditionally, talks of a sequel or successor to LA Noire often get shot down in a less than hopeful manner, but it's surprising that developers would disregard clear fan demand for a new entry in an iconic franchise, though there could be a few hurdles to getting a second entry into the series at a time when Grand Theft Auto 6 and Red Dead Redemption 3 are both so far on the horizon. It would be an exceptional opportunity for Rockstar to revive the series and take advantage of the hole in the market. I agree it would be awesome to have an LA Noire 2, but I do feel that Grand Theft Auto 6 and then Red Dead Redemption 3 are definitely at the top of Rockstar's minds. And then I would personally like to see a Max Payne 4 before seeing an LA Noire 2. That's just me personally. Not that LA Noire isn't, as good as some of these other franchises. I just think that when you think of the juggernauts that Rockstar has, that being GTA, Red Dead Redemption, Max Payne, I think those need to take priority over LA Noire. But in LA Noire 2, I would definitely love to see this. I think that they could set aside a team that could certainly work on this, because I think there's a lot there. I think that the first game built on a number of things, and they could definitely build on more things in the future. Unusually enough, though LA Noire carries the Rockstar pedigree, it was actually developed originally by a studio called Team Bondi, utilizing the game engine Rockstar had for its hit Grand Theft Auto series. With Rockstar's backing and the capacity to capitalize on proprietary motion capture technology, Motion Scan, the studio was able to lay the groundwork for a detective game where the player could feasibly interrogate LA Noire's witnesses and suspects by reading facial expressions and corroborating evidence. Even in spite of some hiccups this had along the way, such as infamous moments where protagonist Cole Phelps lurched into a sudden rage or some facial cues that aren't as subtle as Team Bondi might have liked them to be, the game was very well received with a host of award nominations following its release. Now, look, every time Rockstar releases a game, it gets nominated for a number of things. Now, LA Noire, the thing with this that's very interesting to me, similar to like Max Payne, obviously the Max Payne games, Max Payne 1 and 2, were made by Remedy Entertainment, and they're the ones who are actually helming the remakes for those first two, which means, in my mind, if the remakes do really good, they could very well get a sequel made, that being like Max Payne 4, made for by Remedy. And that being said, could LA Noire have the same sort of thing happen here? Because, you had Team Bondi working on the first game. Could they work on the second game? That's something that's really fascinating to me. I don't think Rockstar would really use a lot of their resource and development for it. They would maybe lay the groundwork, but Team Bondi or another, third-party developer could be the ones actually helming it while Rockstar focuses on their main franchises. So that's something to kind of think about. I'd love to hear your thoughts about that in the comment section down below. While it seemed likely initially that Team Bondi would again work with Rockstar to develop a sequel, hopes were dashed when Team Bondi declared bankruptcy and went into litigation after accusations of a hostile workplace soiled its reputation. It was bought by Kennedy Miller Mitchell, which seemingly kept the flame alive for LA Noire in the form of a spiritual successor under the problematic name Horror of the Orient. This too wound up being canned by 2016. A studio of former LA Noire developers called Video Games Deluxe later worked on LA Noire, the VR Case Files. Ultimately, though, many people involved in LA Noire's future seem keen for the series to see a return. It still remains in a bizarre limbo where nobody's yet ready to give up, but nobody's prepared to be the first to pick up the torch and take the lead. So a huge reason why LA Noire's legacy continues to live on despite not having any form of follow-up beyond 2017 is the self-contained narrative that is bookended by its main character Phelps. The game follows his career from patrol officer to detective, finally resulting in his death by the game's closing. LA Noire itself was very much focused on the time period it sought to emulate, taking inspiration from real-life cases for Phelps to solve, meaning a new game would need to find itself a new lead and a new set of historical cases to explore. Fortunately, America has a wealth of locations to choose from should LA Noire decide to venture further afield and drop the LA from its name. For instance, locations such as New York offer the right hotbed of urban populations and a significant amount of historic crime. Given that several years have since passed following the first game's release, a direct sequel is probably out of the question. But if the developers had always planned for a spiritual successor regardless, then simply switching up the game's setting from Los Angeles to New York or elsewhere could be just enough of a fresh start it needs. LA Noire has a promising ring to it, especially since New York has a wealth of strange and interesting crimes ranging anything from the French Connection drug bust, the Wall Street bombing in 1920, or the operations of the Mafia. Any of these could be easy beginnings of different story arcs in case files. I 100% agree with that, guys. I think that they could go in a number of directions. New York makes a ton of sense in my personal opinion. Though there is still sufficient fan following to drive momentum behind a new LA Noire game or a spiritual successor, with Rockstar Games rightly focused on its biggest franchises at the moment, LA Noire has fallen by the wayside. It sadly isn't the only casualty of Rockstar's lack of attention, as the likes of Max Payne and Bully have similarly been forgotten. And even though the former has been confirmed to have upcoming remakes in the works, new entries in its series are still nowhere to be seen. In light of this, LA Noire is less the exception and more just one of the collateral damages both Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead Redemption continue to soar. There is a strong case for LA Noire to make a comeback, however, so fans are still hopeful that Rockstar Games will remain true to its word that it has interest in the series, if not right now. However, as other games are seemingly meeting to fill the market gap, such as the Mafia series going strong with rumors of a fourth entry in development, Rockstar will need to decide whether it will continue to hold water in LA Noire's potential or if it will confirm the game's official end soon in order to dedicate more time to its other ongoing series. Frankly, the ideal time to announce the development and release of a new sequel to this beloved detective noir thriller would be now, while its other projects are all uncomfortably quiet. So I agree, guys. I feel that it makes a lot of sense in my mind for them to do another LA Noire or like an NY Noire, like based in New York. Something could be really special there for sure, especially with, yes, a new Mafia game coming out. Max Payne may be taken care of by Remedy. Bully, who knows what's going to happen with that franchise. LA Noire is definitely a very special game, and I think it should be a long-withstanding franchise, to say the least. But that being said, guys, I would love to hear your thoughts about this. Where do you think LA Noire is? Do you think it's just because, GTA, Red Dead Redemption are these massive juggernauts in the space, and obviously LA Noire was not quite on that level, and that's why it's been put to the wayside? Do you think it'll stay in a limbo state or a state of no return, or do you think it could return at some point in the future? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. And for more LA Noire 2 content and videos, stay here with zrotv. A beloved franchise that so many people are really excited to see the continuation of is Mass Effect. But the question is where is this game at this point in time? Obviously, Mass Effect 5, or the next Mass Effect game, was announced in 2020, and we've heard very, very little about this game up to this point in time ever since that teaser. So the years have gone by, and I want to talk about everything that we know about it at this point, and I would love to have a real conversation with you guys in the comment section down below. So let's get into it. So guys, in an article coming to us from Richard Lee Breslin of Gaming Bible, for millions of gamers, the Mass Effect series means so much to its loyal legion of fans, and its community is no less passionate 16 years after the launch of the original game. Developed by BioWare, the same studio that brought us the original and critically acclaimed Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, when Mass Effect was released in 2007 for Xbox 360, it became an instant classic. The original Mass Effect would later find its way on PC and PS3 before benefiting from a remastered collection across multiple modern platforms, which also included Mass Effect 2, Mass Effect 3, and all previously released DLC as part of the Legendary Edition. To address the elephant in the room, in 2017 we had Mass Effect Andromeda, which at least for the most part takes place around 600 years after the events of Mass Effect 3. This troubled entry in the series launched with bugs that would spawn internet memes for millennia, and despite being a much better game now, its mud continues to stick. After all, you only get one chance to make a first impression. I agree with that, but I will say that Mass Effect Andromeda, where it is now, is much, much better than when it first launched. And I think underneath all of the bad things, the bugs, glitches, things of that nature when it first started, is something special. I really thought Andromeda was actually a really cool entry in Mass Effect's franchise. And yes, even though it had, some issues along the journey and it's not as good as the original trilogy, I still enjoyed Mass Effect Andromeda. And so it leaves me to believe that, obviously BioWare, they did not, just abandon Andromeda. Andromeda, they continued, they believed in it, they continued to improve upon those, bugs, glitches, and things of that nature, similar to like a No Man's Sky or a Cyberpunk 2077, and now it's in a pretty good state. That being said, though, what could happen in the next game, I'm really excited about. I think that this is something that, if we know anything now about what BioWare and what they did with Mass Effect Andromeda, is if Mass Effect 5 ends up being, something that has a lot of bugs and glitches, I believe BioWare, they're not going to just abandon the game. They're going to continue updating it and making it, be as good as it possibly can be. And I think that's the best way, because we see games like No Man's Sky and Cyberpunk 2077 releasing in terrible states, and now we see where they are, and it's unbelievable how big those are and the scope that those games have gotten us to at this point in time. Thankfully, fans of the BioWare series rejoiced in unison when Mass Effect 5 was announced with a teaser trailer during the Game Awards in 2020. Unfortunately, since that time, we've heard very little about the progress of Mass Effect 5, and despite approaching 3 years since its initial announcement, we do not have a release date. That being said, in 2022, a BioWare blog post confirmed that the next entry in the beloved sci-fi RPG series had begun its early development. However, a recent rumor has brought to light some potentially new details and involves BioWare ditching its open world formula that was introduced in Mass Effect Andromeda in favor of its classic format, which I think, by the way, guys, would be massive. Not having open world, going back to what made Mass Effect great in the first place, I definitely think that's the way for them to go. I've heard that Mass Effect 5 is ditching the open world, claimed Corden, and is going back to its classic format. I don't know if that's accurate 100%, but it's an industry rumor. Obviously, we can take Ches Gordon's word on this speculation, so we should take it with a pinch of salt until BioWare confirms otherwise. At this stage, we don't know what works best for Mass Effect 5 regarding a massive open world or the classic formula. Sometimes having a massive map can work to the detriment of the game, and something more linear can work in a game's favor. After all, a more linear approach worked wonderfully for the original Mass Effect trilogy, not to mention that they were all massive games for the time in terms of scope. And I 100% agree, guys. I think that, in my personal opinion, they should absolutely ditch the open world, go back to what worked in that Mass Effect trilogy. In recent news, BioWare has reportedly laid off around 50 employees, which not only spelled potential doom for the development of Mass Effect 5, but also Dragon Age Dreadwolf. Mass Effect 5 is expected to be released for PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series X and S. And guys, yes, lots and lots of unfortunate layoffs are happening around the entire industry. And I gotta tell you that I still believe that Mass Effect 5 as well as Dragon Age Dreadwolf are both still going to happen. It just may delay this in a pretty major way. I think that we may still be years away from Mass Effect 5. I think we may hear more about it in 2024, but I don't think it's going to release until 2025, 2026, maybe even 2027. So we may be a number of years away because of them having to scale down on how many employees they have, things of that nature. I'm hoping I'm wrong. I hope this comes out sooner than that. Obviously, we want it to be released when it's ready, not when there's going to be bugs and glitches and it's not fully polished. I'd much rather BioWare just wait until it's fully ready to go and then release it to the world and we can all enjoy it for years to come. Let me know what you guys think, though. Where is Mass Effect 5 at this point in time? Do you think it's in a development hell or a limbo state, a state of no return, or do you think it's just something that is years away? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. And for more Mass Effect 5 content and videos, keep it here with zrotv. The Metro franchise is a special one, guys. I really enjoy Metro. Metro Exodus was awesome, and I've been awaiting the next continuation, as well as many of you out there, for the continuation of the next Metro title. But where is it at this point, and when could it be coming out? Let's talk about it. So guys, in an article coming to us from Kale Adam of pushsquare.com, a sequel to 2019's Metro Exodus is reportedly deep into development, even fully playable, and could release as soon as 2024. That's according to Insider Gaming's sources, who suggest that an official reveal will come later in the year, which will be interesting to see if we get that. I'll keep you guys posted, and as more information comes out, I'll be sure to give you guys more information about that. But developer 4A Games have previously revealed the existence of the title, writing in 2020 that it's no secret that we have already started work on the next Metro game. Using everything we've learned from the last 15 years, we've set our sights even higher. The next title is being built for Gen 9 consoles and PC with a complete overhaul of our engine and renderer to take advantage of the new power, storage, and hardware supported ray tracing afforded by the new consoles. Little else is known about the game outside of it perhaps beginning with a dream sequence, but it's fairly safe to assume it will follow in the footsteps of the excellent and gorgeous Metro Exodus. Players will no doubt find themselves creeping through the ruins of the world post-nuclear war, now inhabited by nightmarish abominations and the tattered remnants of the extremist groups fighting over the scraps that remain. So look, guys, there's not a lot that we know at this point, and I have a hard time believing that the game would release in 2024 if it doesn't get, announced here in 2023. Now, they very well could announce it in 2024, like early 2024, and then it comes out late 2024. But I feel that if it doesn't get announced in 2023 and it gets announced at some point in 2024, then I would say that they really want to ramp up marketing and things of that nature for a 2025 release. So could it be 2024? I hope so, guys. I hope they say it's fully playable. So that means that this game should be closer than it is far away. So we should be getting very, very close to hearing more and more about the next Metro title. And I'm really excited about it. I'd love to hear guys' thoughts about this in the comment section down below. When do you think we're going to be hearing about it? And as we get more information about the next Metro title, I will be sure to keep you guys all up to speed. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Let's have a conversation about it. And for more Metro content and videos, keep it here with zrotv. Rainbow Six Siege is an awesome addition to the Rainbow Six franchise. And Rainbow Six Siege, guys, this being a multiplayer experience, and it is absolutely massive, from the esports scene to obviously just casual players playing this game. It is massive and the biggest Rainbow Six title ever released. But are they going to make a Rainbow Six Siege 2? That is something that has been a big talking point. I want to talk about this, and I would love to hear your thoughts about it in the comment section down below. So let's get into it. So guys, in an article that's coming to us from Dustin Bailey of PC Games, it shouldn't be surprising that Rainbow Six Siege 2 isn't in the cards given Ubisoft's broad push toward fewer standalone releases and more long-term services, and the direction the game has pursued since its launch in 2015. But as part of an online Q&A with fans, the devs behind the game have broken down the exact reasons why Rainbow Six Siege is not getting a sequel anytime soon. Siege is an evolving game, creative director Leroy Athanasieff says. The Siege of the future will be dramatically different from today's Siege, to the point where we could call it Siege 2. However, as a team, we strongly believe we can bring about these changes in an incremental way within the current Siege framework. He continues, Siege 2 would mean a new game, a new environment, probably a new inventory, maybe a new dev team. We do not feel that this is what is needed for the community. We care about your investment in the game. We do not want to move to a new one. And I agree, but I also disagree. I mean, the way I look at it, guys, I think having like new environments, some new weapons to use, some, obviously they're updating a number of things with Siege, but I just think that one of the things that obviously Rainbow Six Siege is lacking is a single player story. I would love to play a single player story. I love the Rainbow Six Vegas games, and one of the things that Rainbow Six is so great at is creating awesome stories, and we never got that with Siege. And so I would love to see that with a sequel, or like even a spin-off where it's just a talking about the story and having a playable story and some co-op modes and things of that nature, and keeping Siege as the multiplayer platform. It'll be interesting to see what they decide to do in the future, but it seems like they have no plans of making a sequel at this point. So how are the devs keeping the game's tech modern so that they don't have to move it to a new platform? That's part of what Operation Health was about, as it let the team build a system so that they could develop both content and tech changes in parallel. Because of those investments in the years following Operation Health, we have been able to make huge technical and architectural changes behind the scenes to allow for more advanced features and content. And if you never really saw it, it's because we were able to still maintain the release and the rhythm of new content every season. So it's really interesting, guys. Obviously, it doesn't seem, at least for the foreseeable future, that they're going to make a Rainbow Six Siege 2. Could they in the future at some point? I do believe that it will happen at some point, whether it's called Rainbow Six Siege 2 or Rainbow Six Vegas 3 or whatever it is that they make next. I do believe it's going to come at some point down the road, and it could just be like a single player story or co-op modes or something of that nature that they make and kind of leave the the multiplayer experience with Siege. I just feel though that if you're consistently trying to like increase the lore, the story, all of those things that was started from the very beginning of Rainbow Six, it just makes sense to me that they would make a new one at some point or another. But let me know what you guys think. Would you like to see a Rainbow Six Siege 2? Do you think it's something that could happen in the future? I'd love to have a conversation with you guys in the comment section down below. And for more Rainbow Six Siege content and videos, stay here with zrotv. Rainbow Six Vegas was incredible. It definitely my favorite games out of the entire, ecosystem and the overall franchise of Rainbow Six. Rainbow Six Vegas and Rainbow Six Vegas 2 I thought were awesome. These were games, guys, that I would have loved to see continuations of in the future for sure. And, will we ever get a Rainbow Six Vegas 3 at some point in the future? I want to talk about that, guys, and I would love to hear your thoughts about this in the comment section down below. Obviously, the first game was critically acclaimed, guys. I mean, it was unbelievable. The reception that came about around Rainbow Six Vegas, the first game, unbelievable. I thought it was incredible in a number of ways. The second game built on certain things, but I also thought it was also somewhat of a step in the wrong direction. One of the things that was awesome about these games were they were featured on the MLG Pro circuit, that being Major League Gaming, before it was acquired by Activision, and then Activision has done nothing with MLG at this point. Basically meaning, guys, it was a part of the esports realm, and then obviously with Siege, when that game, came around, now that is a massive, massive esport, but it really felt like it started with Rainbow Six Vegas and Rainbow Six Vegas 2 being these incredible games that I think were not only fun to play because of the single player story, playing different missions in a co-op setting, and then, of course, the multiplayer elements to it. I thought there was so much special things about Rainbow Six Vegas that I would personally love to see a Rainbow Six Vegas 3. Could that be something that would ever happen? Well, Ubisoft has already kind of shut down those things because they shut down the servers and things of that nature. They focused all their resource and development now on Rainbow Six Siege, which obviously has been very, very popular, and lots of people love Rainbow Six Siege, and I love it too. I think it's awesome. I think the bottom line is, guys, would we ever get a third game? I think what it comes down to is us as the community. If we want to see another game made in this sub-series of the overarching franchise that is Rainbow Six, we've got to voice our opinion to that being the developers, that being Ubisoft. We've got to tell them, hey, we want a continuation of Rainbow Six Vegas 3, something that has a story mode, something that has, campaign and like co-op modes, maybe keep Rainbow Six Siege as the multiplayer platform, but then create single player stories, create co-op stories where we can play with our friends. We can do a lot of the things that we did in the original couple of Rainbow Six Vegas games. I think that that would be absolutely awesome, but I think that we have to be the ones echoing those things into existence. I'm going to continue voicing that, and I want to continue creating content around that, that being, a Rainbow Six Vegas 3 for the future. But let me know, guys, do you think we'll ever get a Rainbow Six Vegas 3? Do you think this is something that is just of the past that they'll never revisit in the future? You think they'll only focus on Siege and then maybe make a Siege 2? Let me know what you guys think. And for more Rainbow Six Vegas content and videos, keep it here with zrotv. I, like many people out there, would love to see a Titanfall 3. Obviously, Titanfall 2, guys, was the subject of a game that released at a very bad time between, Call of Duty and Battlefield. It was terrible timing for Titanfall 2. And even though I thought that the game was awesome, and a lot of the things that they did in Titanfall 2, like wall running and things of that nature, then, of course, were translated into games like Call of Duty, where they copied a lot of the stuff from Titanfall. And so I would love to see a continuation of this beloved franchise, even though you got Apex Legends, which is an incredible juggernaut of a game within the Titanfall universe. people want to see a Titanfall 3, and with Apex Legends being the juggernaut it is, could really help build Titanfall 3 and make that a massive game as well. So I want to talk about, will we ever get a Titanfall 3? We've got some new news and developments and things of that nature. People do think that Titanfall 3 is coming, and I think that we as the community have to voice this thing into existence. So let's talk about it. Guys, in an article coming to us from Alex Berry of The Escapist, Titanfall 2 was an awesome game, though rather underrated when it launched back in late 2016. The possibility of a Titanfall 3. It had a short but brilliant story campaign. It also had some of the smoothest traversal and gunplay I'd ever experienced. Unfortunately, the multiplayer portion died off very quickly after launch, which was a real shame. It still had a small dedicated fan base, of course, but it wasn't until it launched on Steam for the first time in 2020 that it really started to pick up steam again. That fan base has since fallen off, partly because of the various server issues that had not been fixed by developer Respawn for over several years. All of a sudden, though, the servers are alive, a patch for the game has gone out, and rumors of Titanfall 3 have begun swirling. So the internet is abuzz with news that the Titanfall 2 servers are back online alongside the first patch to the game in years. This patch directly addresses the server issues that absolutely shafted the matchmaking thanks to hackers for the past few years. The patch has stabilized the game so that players can start playing online again. As a result, Titanfall 2 has made its way back among the top sellers on Steam, and players are flooding back to the game. It's exciting to see this gem of a game getting new life out of seemingly nowhere. Meanwhile, inside Titanfall 2 is a mysterious new game mode that is simply labeled question marks. The mode had a description reading, "Your rockets will block out the sun," which is a reference to the famous line from the 300 movie about their arrows blocking out the sun. Fans have immediately associated the 3 from 300 in this reference as a hint that Titanfall 3 could be in the works. There was also a strange message in the recent Apex Legends patch notes around Subject Nessie. The codes included in the patch notes have since been deciphered to refer to the release dates of Titanfall, Titanfall 2, and Apex Legends. More evidence pointing towards a potential Titanfall 3. So obviously, guys, this is really fascinating. I think that either Respawn is just trying to tease the entire community, or they're giving us hints that they are working on a Titanfall 3, and they're just wanting to see, is there a big fan base still here that are wanting another Titanfall title? Obviously, bringing the servers back online, releasing a patch and things of that nature to what people were asking for a long time, and then of course giving us a different game mode and giving us little hints and things of that nature from patches. It's very fascinating to me. I think that we're starting to build some momentum for a potential Titanfall 3 in the future, and I'll be sure to give you guys more information as it comes out. But do you guys think that a Titanfall 3 is in the cards and is something that is going to come in the future? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. And for more Titanfall 3 content and videos, keep it here with zrotv. Atomicheart, guys, is a absolutely incredible title, and even though I was very skeptical of it at launch and things of that nature, this is a title that I believe needs to become a long withstanding franchise, especially while we've been waiting for Bioshock to make their continuation in the form of Bioshock 4, while we're waiting for Judas. This is an incredible title, guys, that I just want to see a continuation of, and we've got some news in regard to a planned continuation of Atomicheart in the form of Atomicheart 2. Let's talk about it. So guys, in an article coming to us from Pam K. Ferdinand of GameRant, Munfish, the developer behind the alternate history first-person shooter Atomicheart, is already thinking about a sequel to the game. While Atomicheart has received mixed reviews with the spectrum ranging from great dislike to Game of the Year hype, there's no doubt that the game did not fly under the radar when it launched on February 21st. Upon its release, Atomicheart surpassed Hogwarts Legacy and even the Steam Deck in terms of sales, though it has now dropped to a still respectable 45 on Steam sales charts. One of the reasons Munfish's release grabbed so much attention was the controversy surrounding Atomicheart, which tells a version of World War II in which the USSR came out on top, defeating Nazi Germany and creating a thriving market for Soviet robots. Understandably, given the current state of real-world affairs with an ongoing war against Ukraine Ukraine, many people have protested the release of Atomic Heart, coming as it does from a Russian game developer. Well, despite the controversy, developer Mundfish recently revealed in an interview with journalist Alexei Makarenov that Atomic Heart 2 is not out of the question. When Makarenov asked about a potential sequel to the Bioshock-esque Atomic Heart, the developer responded that a follow-up is already planned. However, fans shouldn't expect to see the end result for a while because Mundfish has been busy releasing updates for Atomic Heart and obviously working on DLC. Though a first-person shooter at its core, Atomic Heart offers a few things like puzzles and crafting to give players a break from the action. In addition to main story missions and side quests, there are testing grounds which serve as the game's optional dungeons where gamers can track down blueprints for weapons and upgrades. There are also RPG elements that allow players to customize their playstyle with skill trees for different abilities and character improvements. Atomic Heart has been compared to a number of other games like Bioshock, Wolfenstein, and even the more modern Fallout entries. However, it's also been called a love letter to action movies thanks to its sometimes over-the-top action sequences, primarily the story-driven cutscenes. Either way, fans of any of those franchises or genres will likely find something to enjoy in Atomic Heart, although it does have a fair number of glitches that occasionally interrupt the gameplay. Hopefully, Mundfish will continue to release patches and updates that will make those issues a less common occurrence. In the ideal scenario, the lessons learned from Atomic Heart, which is the studio's first release, will help Mundfish create an even more polished follow-up. And so guys, obviously it's confirmed. Atomic Heart 2 is going to be coming at some point in the future. Obviously, I think that right now Mundfish, they're focused on the DLCs for, Atomic Heart. And I think they're going to continue these DLCs probably for the foreseeable future before they start full active development on Atomic Heart 2. But it sounds like they already have ideas of where they want to go. And I love this story, the world that they've built here, especially just going into this world. It's such a fascinating world. And I cannot wait to see where they go in the future. What's going to be canon from the choices that you make at the end of Atomic Heart? Where are they going to go with it? I'm sure they're going to answer certain questions with these upcoming DLCs. It's going to be fascinating, guys. Bottom line is Atomic Heart 2 is coming, and I am so excited about it. We're going to be creating a lot of Atomic Heart and Atomic Heart 2 content here on the YouTube channel, so stay tuned for that. But let me know, guys, what do you guys think about an Atomic Heart 2? Where do you think they're going with the story? What could they add in the future, like multiplayer modes, some co-op modes? I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts about that in the comment section down below. And for more Atomic Heart 2 content and videos, stay here with zrotv. And with that being said, everyone, I hope you guys did enjoy this episode of the 8 Below Show. And if you guys did, leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, stay positive, just keep grinding. And as always, I'll talk to you guys all in the next one. Peace.